Front Row MMA, we're here at the beautiful UTC Birmingham, and we're here with Laura Drayton, who's got a fight coming up in 7 weeks' time.
Yeah.
It's your debut?
It is indeed.
My first question is, why?
Actually, my parents asked the exact same question, specifically my dad. I suppose I've done kickboxing, I've done karate for years, I've done a lot, I've done kind of every other art, and I think if you got to take it to the top, you've got to test yourself at the ultimate level to know.
And MMA is the ultimate in combat sport?
I would say so. I think it's certainly an art, it's certainly become an art where you have to be good in all areas. In the early days you could take your king art and pit it against another, but these days I think you do have to be able to be at least competent at all levels, so I'd say yes.
With a karate and a kickboxing background, you've competed?
Yes, yeah, I've competed. I think I first competed around 19. I was quite a late starter in terms of competing, but I've always enjoyed it, and it's always been. It's not something I take really seriously, but I enjoy challenging myself. So,
you know, you're stepping in against a lady that's had a couple of fights experience. She's been described by people around, including yourself, as a bit of a unit. What what are you doing in your training? Do you worry about her at all? Do you watch? You know, I know she doesn't have a couple of fights. Do you do research? Do you care, or do you work on your own game?
I think it's important to know what you are up against, but I think nothing beats preparing your own game well and making yourself a well-rounded fighter. I think if you dwell too much on what they're doing, you spend so much time dwelling on that you don't dwell on yourself. So I think it's important to just drill your game, know what you're going to do, and then what they do is really academic if you play your game well.
With the background that you have, obviously it would seem that stand-up is more comfortable. How is the evolution of your ground? Did you have a ground game before you came here, and how did that go?
Genuinely, no, I didn't. I think I'd grappled probably 3 times before I came here. Each had been an unequal disaster. But when I came here, I can genuinely say now I enjoy grappling, and I've done a couple of grappling competitions. I won, so I really enjoy the ground game now. Now that I understand sort of what I'm looking for, and that it's just a different set of priorities to stand up, I'm really enjoying it, and I'm really progressing.
See, this is where we could double bluff anybody who's wanting to watch, but you know, are you going in with a game plan for this, or are you going in and kind of letting it happen organically?
I'm certainly going in with things that I'd like to do and goals that I'd like to achieve, but I think if it did veer off course, then I'm more than happy to fight on the ground, standing up. I'm happy for it to go either way at this stage.
So if you miss the flying triangle in the first 10 seconds, you're happy to knock her out afterwards?
Oh, totally, yes. That's what I'm waiting for.
Are there any, 7 weeks out, and again, it might seem a ridiculous question, but are there any nerves, or do you feel that, you know what you're getting into, you got 7 weeks to prepare? How up here is it?
I think anyone who says they have no nerves whatsoever is lying, and I think it's more excitement now, because it's been a real big lead up to this, and I had some real bad luck sort of last year, and it's taken a long time to get me to this place, so I think now I'm more excited to get in there and have the opportunity more than anything.
We were talking earlier about, you're with the fight team here, and I all the lads came to interview, and there's I commented that chivalry may be dead, but I'm just one of the boys. Was that a tough, how easy was it to sort of break into this pack of animals?
Yeah, do you know what? When I first walked in here, it's obviously a very male-dominated environment, and you sort of think at first that you do have to step up and prove yourself. But I can honestly say that no one has been anything less than 100% supportive. They've all pushed me. They've pushed me to breaking point at times, and there's been nights I've gone home and thought, oh, you men! But no, at the same time, they've all been great. They've been supportive, and some of them will drag me aside and show me certain things, and it's or you get tips from them afterwards. And I think it's great that they're all so supportive of me being here.
BCMMA, it's a great show run by Jack Mason, who's a Cage Warriors standout in pedigree. How important is it for you that we have promoters like him that are putting on? I know women's MMA is taking off, but finding a lot of it in the UK, that's tough. How important is promotions like this to the growth of the sport that you take part in?
I think it's nice to be part of shows and enterprises which put the fighters first, and they sort of, I think there's a lot of exploitation that takes place, and a lot of where it's not really for the benefit of the fighter so much as it is for the benefit of making money. So I think it's lovely that we're given an opportunity as fighters to get in and express ourselves. I think that's really nice.
And also, at this BCMMA event, you've got teammates. There's there's a whole crew of UTC going down, which means there will be coaches going down as well. There will be that UTC chant echoing through the building. But when it comes down to it, you're going to climb in there by yourself. Why are you ready now?
To be honest, I've been ready for a long time to test myself. It's just that obviously with fewer women in the sport and as you limit that down by weight categories and things and experience levels, it's been hard to find a match and a time that was convenient. And obviously I'm a grown-up, I do other things, I have jobs and things I've got to do. But I think life is about opportunities. I'm not getting any younger. If you wait, all that happens is you get older. And I think it's just I've had an opportunity. The entire team's with me. It'll be a nice team event, my family will come down, and it's just you got to grab the opportunity while it's there rather than waiting for everything to be perfect.
The other thing about BCMMA is they put on fights with top quality amateurs, and at the last event you had Sinead Kavanagh fighting Jay Haynes. Now Jay Haynes is fairly local here, she's a wonderful little fighter as well. It seems that the Midlands is actually starting to produce some women athletes at MMA that could potentially go on. What's your end game within the sport?
To be honest, I'm quite happy to let it run wherever it goes. I always said I'd never go pro, but I said I'd never run marathons. I've said a whole lot of things I'd never do that I ended up doing. And I think if the opportunity did come up, I think, it's always in the back of your mind. Yeah. I think Ronda Rousey's always in the back of your mind for every woman, and you think, of course I don't want that, but if it came up, that's not an opportunity you can say no to, is it?
That's a fair point. Look, again, 7 weeks out, training, you must be kicking into gear now. For you, what do the next 7 weeks entail?
The next 7 weeks, I'm hoping maybe, because I'm in touch with Jay Haynes on Facebook and Michelle Jones as well I'm in touch with, so I'm hoping maybe to organise some sparring with some females who've already been in the cage just so I can gauge what I'm up against, and I'm hoping obviously my team will be thoroughly invested in beasting me and working me hard. Yannick's doing fitness sessions with me at the moment that are breaking my soul.
Can't imagine that being very much fun at all.
No, he's a tough man.
I appreciate the fact that you've been waiting around to spend a few minutes talking with us. But before we let you go, my first question is, what can people expect to see in that cage? Are we going to see a cerebral fight? Are we going to see aggression? What can we expect to see?
You're going to see the best that I have. And that's all I can offer anyone. I
got to tell you, that's good enough for me. And before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to? Anybody you'd like to mention who have helped you on this journey? And anything.
I'd like to thank my fight team. You're all stars. You're wonderful people. My dad, my mum, and my boyfriend Alistair, who puts up with all the all the strops at home over what I can and can't eat. I tell you, the mark of an expert interview is to thank the partner at the end. Bravo! You're well on your way. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.